In the cold winter of 1889, in a small Austrian town called Braunau am Inn, a child was born who would grow up to become one of history's most notorious figures. Adolf Hitler's early life gave little indication of the devastating role he would play in shaping the 20th century. Growing up in a middle-class family, young Hitler dreamed of becoming an artist. His father's death when he was just 13 marked the beginning of a troubled youth. After failing to secure admission to the Vienna Academy of Fine Arts, he spent years living in poverty in Vienna, selling postcards and paintings to survive. The First World War proved to be a turning point. Hitler volunteered for the German army, serving as a courier on the Western Front. The war's end in 1918 with Germany's defeat left him and many others bitter and disillusioned. This defeat, combined with the harsh terms of the Treaty of Versailles, created fertile ground for extremist ideologies to take root. In the chaos of post-war Germany, Hitler found his voice in politics. He joined the German Workers' Party, which would later become the Nazi Party. His passionate speeches drew increasing crowds, tapping into widespread resentment over Germany's economic struggles and national humiliation. By 1921, he had become the party's leader. The failed beer hall putsch of 1923 might have ended Hitler's political career. Instead, his imprisonment became an opportunity. During his 9 months in Landsberg prison, he wrote Mein Kampf, outlining his political ideology and future plans. Upon release, he rebuilt the Nazi Party with a new strategy, gaining power through legal means. The Great Depression of 1929 created the perfect storm. As Germany's economy collapsed and unemployment soared, Hitler's promises of national renewal found an eager audience. The Nazi Party grew dramatically, becoming the largest party in the Reichstag by 1932. Through political maneuvering, Hitler was appointed Chancellor of Germany on January 30, 1933. What followed was a rapid transformation of German society. The Reichstag fire in February 1933 provided the pretext for emergency powers. Within months, Hitler had established a dictatorship, banned other political parties, and begun the systematic persecution of perceived enemies of the state. The years 1933 to 1939 saw Germany's transformation into a totalitarian state. Hitler's government implemented the Nuremberg Laws, began massive rearmament programs, and annexed Austria in the Anschluss of 1938. The Munich Agreement of the same year, meant to secure peace in our time, only emboldened Hitler's territorial ambitions. September 1, 1939 marked the beginning of World War II in Europe with Germany's invasion of Poland. Hitler's military strategy of blitzkrieg proved initially successful as German forces conquered much of Europe. By mid-1940, France had fallen and Britain stood alone against Nazi Germany. The decision to invade the Soviet Union in June 1941 would prove fatal. Operation Barbarossa, initially successful, became bogged down in the Russian winter. The entry of the United States into the war in December 1941 shifted the balance of power decisively against Germany. As the tide of war turned, Hitler's leadership became increasingly erratic. He refused to allow tactical retreats, leading to devastating losses. The failed assassination attempt in July 1944 made him even more paranoid and isolated. By early 1945, Soviet forces were approaching Berlin from the east, while Allied forces advanced from the west. In his final days, Hitler retreated to his Berlin bunker. As Soviet artillery pounded the city above, he married his longtime companion Eva Braun on April 29, 1945. The next day, they both committed suicide, leaving Germany to face the consequences of his devastating regime. The legacy of Hitler's rule extends far beyond the military defeat of Nazi Germany. The Holocaust, the systematic murder of 6 million Jews and millions of others, revealed the darkest capabilities of human nature. The world order that emerged after 1945 was shaped largely in response to the horrors of the Nazi regime. Hitler's rise to power serves as a warning about the fragility of democratic institutions and the dangers of extreme nationalism. Economic hardship, political instability, and social resentment created conditions that allowed a skilled demagogue to transform a democracy into a dictatorship. The story of Hitler's regime reminds us that civilization's progress is not inevitable. It shows how quickly society can descend into barbarism when hatred is normalized and human rights are denied. The period stands as a testament to the importance of defending democratic values and resisting the allure of authoritarian solutions to social problems. In studying this dark chapter of history, we must remember that it was not inevitable. At each step, individuals and institutions could have chosen differently. The lessons of this period remain relevant today as societies continue to grapple with questions of democracy, human rights, and the proper use of political power.